What's up, everyone? It's Charles Finch, the greatest villain expert. And yes, I'm wearing the werewolf mask. So, villain number 22. He is infamous. He is one of the notorious slashers in history. Meet Chucky. So, Chucky is one of the most recognizable characters in horror films. Okay, so he is not to be reasoned with because he is the very, very darkest soul ever. So, here we go. Charles Lee Chucky Ray, also known as the Lakeshore Strangler, is the titular main antagonist of the Child's Play franchise. He is Tiffany's ex-husband, Glenn and Glenda's father, and Andy Barclay's arch-nemesis and former best friend. As a child, Chucky had a difficult life. His Irish-American mother had come from a wealthy family and was a bartender and dancer. But because she was a dwarf, other kids made fun of Chucky, so to make matters worse, his Australian-American father was a raging alcoholic who abused him and his mother. It is implied that members of Ray's family were also murderers in the seed of Chucky, when he tells Glenn that killing has been in the family for generations. This might be where Chucky got some of his psychotic personality traits from. Ray apparently went to a man named John Bishop to learn about voodoo magic as to find a way to cheat death, although John was unaware of Ray's true motives. At some later point, Ray met and befriended Daniel Pierce and was introduced to his family, his wife Sarah, his daughter Barbara, and Sarah was pregnant with Mika at the time. This was significant because this is what led to the series. Ray felt secretly in love with Sarah, who wanted the two of them to be family at some point later. He murdered a woman named Vivian Van Pelt and stole her $6,000 ring for unknown reasons. He also met Tiffany, Ray, and she became his girlfriend, though Ray didn't view her as such, as he was still in love with Sarah. He also killed Tiffany's mother. One night, Ray found Daniel walking home at night and offered him a ride home. At some point, he managed to subdue and drown him. He later attended his funeral along with Sarah's family. He later kidnapped Sarah and held her in the basement of a building, possibly the same apartment building located at 730 Stony Island Avenue on the south side of Chicago. He revealed his true motives to her and revealed everything he did to her family. Now believing himself to be part of the family, at some point Sarah managed to gain access to a phone where she dialed 911. The police showed up to the building and Ray realized what happened. Arranged Sarah's snitching to the cops about us. He stabbed Sarah with a voodoo knife, and the same one used later by Chucky, in the stomach. This caused Nico's paralysis of the legs. Later, after she was born from there, the Child's Play series unfolds. Gray's Pool mentioned in the second film that Ray murdered a total of 12 people during his killing spree in Chicago, despite only having the 3 confirmed victims, and only one is actually seen on camera. There are still 9 more victims that have yet to be identified. One night in Chicago, Charles is being chased by the police Sarah had called earlier. Among the officers involved in the chase is Detective Mike Norris. He tries to hand at shooting Norris but misses, and he is shot in the foot by him. He sees his partner Eddie Caputo in the van up ahead and limps towards his direction, but Norris calls his partner Jack Santos to chase the van. Ray is then forced to hide behind the wall, despite his attempts at calling his partner to wait for him. Mixing Norris with his gun, again, he is told to give up and surrender. Cornered and unable to go anywhere, Ray takes cover inside a toy store and is soon fatally shot by Norris in the chest. Before dying, Ray removes his trench coat, swears vengeance on Norris and Eddie, and continues to hide from him. He begins to lose his balance and leans forward on boxes of good guy dolls, knocking them down, and uses a voodoo ritual to transfer his soul into one of the dolls. The store is then struck by lightning and it burns to the ground. Norris presumes Ray died in the explosion. So he transferred his soul into a good guy doll. It's quite shocking, isn't it? Chucky has been killing people since the families like the Barclays, the Tillys, and the Pierces. So Nika knows everything about Chucky. So she had read up his information from a kid named Andy Barclay, Chucky's arch nemesis. He was more than... So Chucky tried to find another body, but it was too late. He spent too much time in the good guy body, so he's trapped. So he has to find another one, because Andy wasn't perfect, The body wasn't perfect, Chucky is trying to survive, from dying. Well, that's it. And this is his catchphrase. Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna